Well, hi again guys, welcome to episode 12 of DENT Station. A few things I'm going to show you before we do the timetable, which today is between 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 4 o'clock. There are 7 trains, mainly northbound, typical S&C. Load go one way 1 hour, another load go the other way next hour. Good mix of passenger, well, a couple of passengers, the rest are freight, but some nice spectacular trains on this little hour. I'm going to show you a couple of other bits now. I've got some weathering. I think I mentioned it a couple of episodes ago. I got some new stock. It doesn't run on the railway until it's weathered, so instead of it lying in a corner somewhere, so that time I did something with it. So it's not going to be a detailed weathering session or anything, it's just to show you what I class as my basic weathering. Nothing good on the track other than running in to check it's working okay. Then it gets a quick weathering just to tone it all down from that shiny plastic. Can get put into running side then, and then as time permits, do a bit more detailed weathering every now and then. Nothing is ever sort of planned, just I've got an hour, I'll weather that, whatever takes me fancy really. So we'll start off with the weathering side. Okay, cheers. Okay, so this is the items I'll be doing the first stage weathering on today. We've got a couple of XLMS porthole coaches, and then a Mark 1 Buffy, restaurant Buffy car, a couple of Warwell wagons, one's in electrification livery, one's just in S&T livery, Class 27, which I used to work on at St Rollock's Works many years ago, and then a couple of favourites of mine, Class 50s, D400s as we called them, and actually copying D400, but a bit of a nightmare when they came out because it was at the test centre in Derby for ages and I never knew that. Every time I'd go to Palmadie or Central Station in Glasgow, get all the others around it but never D400. Months it took to get it, but naturally I got them all in the end. Quite exciting locos for the day, 1967, still a kid. 3 of the new Accurascale Semflow wagons, very nice models, so detailed, they're unbelievable. And the dreaded flying banana at the back. I refused to work on these when I was at Derby Works, so I'd rather leave than work on a DMU. So I never did work on them. They don't belong to me, it's just for a friend, doing a favour for a friend. So that's the weathering stuff for today. So it'll just be a basic coat of frame dirt or whatever on it, just a bit of roof dirt, whatever, to tone down this shiny plastic. Looks too toy-like. On the Class 50s, they came out in 1967. Nobody made them, obviously, no model maker, Hornby, anyone like that at the time. So I had a English Electric Type 3 at the time, D6830 I think it was numbered, Hornby brought out. So I took the body off it because the bogies are very similar, and I fabricated a body for a Class 50 from a sheet of thin tin plate and some hardwood. Carved out the cabs, I even had windows you could see through. Really went to town on it. The two ends, with the cab ends sunk into the bodywork, and it was all glued and clamped together, painted up. Cost me a fortune in Letraset because railway transfers weren't available in those days, and I wanted D444, That was the one I wanted, so it took me ages to get enough letraset to do, because you only got about 4 fours on each sheet. I think the letraset cost me more than anything else. Painted it all up, looked the part for a 15-year-old. I was quite happy with it, and disaster struck one day. My mother was quite a religious-y type person, which I'm not, and the priest came round to try and convince me to be a altar boy, and he didn't stand a chance. And needless to say, he wanted to play trains. Took it round the layout at a great rate of knots, and I kept saying, "Can you slow down? Can you slow down?" And eventually it just came off the track, hit the deck. The two timber ends fell out, and I have to admit I used a few choice words to him, to which his reply was, "I don't think Michael's altar boy material." That's luckily my father saw the right side and said, "I think you'd best leave." So right, we'll get on with the weathering, and that's my little anecdote for today. Right, so this is the chosen airbrush by Harder and Steenbeck, Infinity model, Infinity CR+2 in one. Appears to be an excellent airbrush. I've had several over the years. They work for a while and then they don't. It doesn't matter how bad you clean them, they just don't seem to perform after a while. Choice of first weathering paint, Phoenix Precision P960 frame dirt in matte, together with the PQ9 by the same company of the quick air drying thinners. I'll mix up a solution in here and just dispense it to the airbrush as and when required. This is the airbrush. It's on one of those go when necessary compressors. It just kicks in and out as it's required. I used to have a big compressor with a tank, and we've got a fair bit of condensation was coming out of it, so I changed it for one of these. You don't seem to have that problem. Right, so we'll get on with some weathering, and the first item today will be the 3 coaches. I'll have an initial light weathering. The spray booth. The spray booth is an old cooker hood. 3 settings. A light. I also have another light for forward vision. Makeup brush to give everything a little dust down. And all ready to go. So let's get started. That's the compressor. So first thing I do is a little bit of a test card, make sure the brush is working correctly, not applying too much. It's all been dusted down. Tend to wear a glove, with it being enamel paint. Tends to be a bit messy. So it starts with one thing I have forgot to do, and that is to put the cloth on the turntable. So here we go, all the undercarriage, the prime area for this finish. Don't go mad on coaches, because the top half of a coach is washed down to some extent during the service period. But the underframe and the rear ends, or whatever you want to call them, they could get quite filthy during service. Now, a lot of people don't agree with a weathering. They prefer the stock to look pristine. It's fine, it's their layout, they can do what they want. I try to emulate what it looked like when I was a train spotter. So that is basically it'll fit for this coach. One coach finished. Doesn't take long. And just a quick brush down over the bodywork and the bogie area, just in case there's any specks of dust. I think I might change this for a different cloth to what I normally use. I might change it just for a piece of paper. One will get a little bit heavier weathering, and the simple reason being the mini restaurant buffet would have been a service far less years than an old porthole coach, so it's going to get a little bit more attention. I just tried to catch the bottom of the body panel, just to give it just a slight tint. The brake, it's usually brake dust that causes all this mess. The brake dust spins out of control when the train's stopping. It just clings to everything and anything. So I'll go through these and then I'll come back to show you the locomotives. So the coaches and wagons are basically all the same. I will show you a couple of wagon weatherings. Needless to say, these do get a bit more attention being a wagon. Now these wagons weren't introduced till about 65, I think. So again, they won't be filthy. So I'll just try and consider that while I'm doing this. Better put the extractor on now, it's starting to get a little bit fumy. A bit of spatter there. Just an overall dusting on the wagon. Now, considering the airbrush was cleaned out thoroughly, still getting a little bit of spatter. So I think I'll try and thin the paint down a little bit more before I continue. see how the second wagon goes. A bit neater. Needless to say, I can't see what's being filmed at the moment. I'm just hoping everything's working out for you. Your end. Key thing to remember is that no two vehicles are ever the same. There's always distinct differences. I'll finish that one off in a minute. I'll just go through these two. Now this is an S&T allocated war well, so this will have had no maintenance other than rebuilding, refurbishing every 20 years apart, so this is going to get a very heavy wear in it. S&T stands for Signal and Telegraph Department, if anyone's wondering. Probably be giving these 3-link couplings to go with most of the other S&T stock I have. Now this war well wagon is electrification department. Managed to break a stanchion getting it out of the box, so not very robust, but I think I've already shown you my answer to that. Electrification trains late 60s when they started getting popular, so this will only have a very light weathering, new to traffic after a refurb. Just to tone down the shiny plastic, really. Looks like I broke a buffer as well. Marvellous. It hasn't even been on the layout yet. I only just noticed that buffer missing. I'll have to search for it in the box. So that's that done. Perhaps a little bit more on the bogies. Go for a locomotive now. Good old class 27. Introduced in the late 50s, so this has been around a while. Couldn't tell you how many of these I worked on when I was a lad. They were all being based in Scotland at the time, with Glasgow Works was entrusted with the maintenance and overhaul. I've done everything on them, fitters wise, not electrical, just fitting wise. From a fitter's point of view, they were reasonable local to work on, nothing too cumbersome or complicated, not like the North British 21s, 29s, they were horrendous. Had to have a supply of self-tappers, everything was held on with self-tappers. So this is just an initial toning down. There's more to come on these, especially on the roof. Go for my second favourite, class 50, D400 itself. Check the paint level. Yeah, it's getting low. Only introduced 1967, so this is not getting much of a darkening. Just can't stand that shiny plastic at all. Too toy-like for me. Sole bar always dirtier than anywhere else around the grill areas. Anywhere dirt can accumulate. The weathering again, I'll just continue with this on my own now, and we can revert to the timetable. Do one flying banana, and the friend only wants a light weathering. I wouldn't work on them at Derby Works. Yeah, I'm working on them here. Ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. Conned again. Right, so I'll just continue with this and then I will return to do the timetable between 3 PM and 4 PM.